And I would like to ask you all an obscure question with a very simple answer. How could a baby fall out of a 20-story building onto the ground and live? Might be an answer to that, but I may consider these answers to be vertical thinking answers. That a man catches the baby, baby falls on some cushions or a trampoline, or it's maybe held by a rope. But according to lateral thinking, the baby fell off the ground floor. And I'm wondering why all of you have thought that just because it's a 20-story building that the baby fell off the 20th floor. Edward de Bono was the mastermind behind the concept of lateral thinking, and he believed that we shouldn't look at the core of we shouldn't take the solution at the core, but rather we should wonder and see why the perceptions may differ and why our mind set certain perceptions to a theory. His first claim said that lateral thinking is for changing concepts and perceptions, meaning that while many people take a game of chess and compare it to life situations, it differs greatly than that. In a game of chess, you are given certain pieces and you use them to win the game. However, in life, you aren't given any pieces, or in a certain life situation. But you use your mind to set those pieces and boundaries and look at it in a different perception. So the whole concept is to change those perceptions and change the details in order to reach a certain solution. And it was used in a lot of businesses to solve problems or maybe even reach success.
Another claim by Edward de Bono that you cannot dig a hole in a different place by digging the same hole deeper. This exactly clarifies how to be a lateral thinker. When anybody has a problem, he tries to use a traditional solution, even if it does not fit his problem, so he tries to develop it. However, if he tried to find another solution or look to his problem from another perspective, he could come up with a new original solution that no one had thought about. For instance, if you are standing in front of a fast-moving train, and you try to determine in which direction is it moving, you will simply use that from the side of the station you are standing on. However, if you look from another perspective, you could find that it could be moving in either direction. Not only is the lateral thinking used in business, as Adel said, but it was also used in medical applications. Had anyone thought how medicine and drugs were inserted in the human body in the 18th century? Then, the scalpels were used to cut the tissues and insert medicines inside the body. At that time, fields of research were directed towards developing the use of scalpels with safer and easier ways. This was until a physician, Alexander Wood, made it and thought laterally and decided to make that process more easier and safer, simply by needles.
So to understand the difference between lateral and vertical thinking, let's have a look at this example. A black man wearing nothing but black was walking in the middle of a black street, with the street lights turned off. A man driving straight at him in a black car with the headlights turned off, manages to avoid crashing into him just as he saw him. How did he do that? I'll give you a bit of time to think about it. I bet most of you assumed it was nighttime, even though it was not mentioned. Vertical thinking is analytical. It shows you what information is available. For example, here, a black man wearing nothing but black, and the street's lights were turned off, and the car's headlights were off. So your mind subconsciously processes that information and makes you think, well, it has to be nighttime, but it did not mention, so you could solve problems easier that way. On the other hand, lateral thinking is provocative. It takes away all this misleading information and looks at it more closely and says, well, maybe it was daytime to begin with. To sum up all of this, lateral thinking is a method used to break the boundaries set by vertical thinking. It's used to force open the doors closed by vertical thinking that could lead to many great solutions. As they say, lateral thinking ideas could be out of fashion tomorrow. That's why not all businesses are successful in the end. Here's one last riddle before we end. You're driving a car in a big stormy night, and you pass by a bus stop. You come across 3 people: an old lady who's dying, a friend who once saved your life, and the partner you've been dreaming of. You can only take 1 passenger with you in the car. So what would you do? Who would you choose? Since this is a bit complicated, there's a hint. You can make everyone happy if you think about it the right way. Finally, thank you all for your time, and lateral thinking is just like humor. You only get it afterwards.